Yo, what's up, everybody? One Piece chapter 1033 is out, and I know it's driving y'all crazy. So, y'all know how we do it around here. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell so that you get notifications. And let's get straight into it. So we pick up where we left off in the last chapter. Zorro is fighting King. He's down, but Enma starts draining his haki from him without his permission. So he's kind of having a mini moment here trying to figure out what's going on with Enma. But before he can do that, King goes in for the attack. And here we see Zorro use his observation haki to, I guess, almost to like a Katakuri level, because before King can attack, Zorro attacks him first and he gets a direct hit. So someone please explain that to me, because it definitely looks like Zorro saw the future here. Anyway, he attacks King. It's a direct hit. King doesn't really seem too bothered about it, but then he explodes. So I'm guessing this is one of King's powers, like he can explode on command. I mean, he's got fire coming out of his back, so I wouldn't be out of the realm to just make yourself explode. I'm not really sure. So I guess we'll see that in the future. Hopefully Oda will explain that one. Quickly, we cut over to Sanji versus Queen. Sanji just got done kicking Queen through the wall, but Queen gets back up and he's basically taunting Sanji again. He's saying, listen, I don't know what you just told the pirate hunter, but there's no way he stands a chance against King. King is a survivor of the Lunarian race, a race that we're all supposed to be eradicated, and that they can survive in any inhospitable environment that the world threw at them. So thank you, Queen. Thank you for explaining that for us. We really needed that. Unfortunately, Zorro is the one who needs it as well. So the fact that Sanji has that information doesn't really help him. Anyway, he continues to say, in the past, they were considered God. And when Sanji asks, how could you wipe out a race of gods? That's when Queen wants to be, annoying and basically tell him, oh, you're gonna have to find out yourself. Wow, bro. Thanks a lot. But anyway, we cut back to Zorro versus King. We see that Zorro survived the explosion, and he honestly, he admits that he would have been a goner if he had used his armament haki any later. But to his surprise, we also see that King has survived, and Zorro's very confused. He's like, dude, you just blew yourself up. I'm not really sure how this man survived, but he gets straight back into business. He uses Itoryu Lethal Lion song to cut King in the neck. And once again, he makes a direct hit, but nothing happens. King just sort of ignores it. I mean, this is crazy. This is one of Zorro's strongest techniques, and indeed, we've seen him use it against the dragon at Punk Hazard and maybe a couple other places. I can't really remember right now, but this is like Zorro's Batu Jutsu one sword slash technique. It's pretty strong, but it absolutely does nothing to King. And King responds with Imperial Tempura again, the face stretching technique that he used earlier that everybody's been making fun of all week. So at this point, Enma starts draining Zorro's haki again. And Zorro is definitely having a moment like, why are you doing this now? He barely dodges King's attack. I mean, he might get grazed, but King's attack takes out the entire mountainside. So at this point, Zorro is falling, him and all his swords, and he goes into a flashback here, and he remembers the moments in which he met his swords. At this point, King is like, yo, this guy's lost his mind. He's willing to risk his life to save the swords, right as Zorro's crashing into the floor below them. And at this point, we see Zorro get up. He makes it over to Wado Ichimonji, and he's saying, oh man, it's such a relief that it didn't fall off the island. And he remembers asking his master for the Wado Ichimonji. He goes into a whole flashback on how it's Kuina's sword, and he's gonna be the world's strongest swordsman. Of course, this memory was the catalyst to make Zorro come to the realization that we've known this whole time. But before we get to that, King attacks Zorro again. He has his Imperial twin blades, his two wings, and he's sending like blade strikes at Zorro. And Zorro is able to block them. However, Enma is draining his haki again. The sword is not satisfied with the amount of haki that Zorro has given him. So he's blocking it with one hand essentially, and he's daydreaming. So this is typical Zorro, right? The only person that could daydream during a fight with one of the first commanders of the Yonko. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, so he remembers Momo telling him, hey man, I'm not supposed to say the word snatchy anymore. It's not becoming of someone who is royalty like me. Zorro's like, oh, well, that's just something I learned from an old geezer in my village. And this triggers a sequence of memories. First is that he realized that the old geezer was actually Kuina's grandfather, and Zorro didn't know that until after the old geezer died. And Zorro remembers here that Tenguyama Hitetsu said that the Wado was actually created by Shimotsuki Kozuburo. Here he's making that connection that that old geezer in the village by the sea is Shimotsuki Kozuburo. And he explains to him that, oh, well, I heard that you used to be a samurai, and the old geezer basically shushes Zorro. He says, listen, you're gonna bring the Marines down on me. He's like, why would the Marines come for you? And he's like, that's none of your business. So we see in the next couple of panels that Zorro lost to Kuina again, and he tells this to the old geezer, and the old geezer actually gifts Zorro his first two swords. He says they're not that great, but these are the only kind I can really make nowadays. And he explains to Zorro here that, look, all swords are different. They're like a person, and they all have their own unique personality. If you have a sword that is good at killing people, then that means the sword is just good at its job. Forget what people say about the swords being cursed. That's ridiculous. Blades are meant to cut people down. So if you have a sword that's really good at that, then that means you have a really good sword. And you, as the swordsman, you have to tame the wild nature of the really good sword and only make it cut what you want it to cut. And he explains to Zorro that he actually crafted his masterpiece back when he was younger, and he named it after the Lord of the Underworld, which we know is Enma. At this point, we cut to a panel where Enma lands on the floor in front of Zorro and presents himself. At this point, Zorro realizes that Enma has been testing him the whole time. We get one final flashback panel here to Shimotsuki Kozuburo, and it's him telling Zorro that named blades, they're pretty vigilant, and they'll patiently wait to find the swordsman that's worthy of them. So we know that all of Zorro's blades are named, so we know that Zorro is the de facto wielder of these blades. And here we see Zorro get up with his newfound revelation that Odin was able to actually use Enma while pouring in this much haki into it. And Zorro just has to match that if he's gonna be able to wield Enma. Once again, Odin shows us that he's a complete badass in pretty much every way. And I don't know about you guys, but does Enma look pretty black here to you? I mean, I know Enma always had a darker tint to it, and that just might be the way Oda decided to draw it in this panel, but it's looking really black. Zorro's pouring a lot of haki into it. This might be the catalyst of Zorro turning Enma into a black blade. We'll see. In this next panel, we see some of the Beast Pirates, and they recognize Zorro, and they're like, yo, let's help take him out. We'll definitely get promoted if we help take him out. And before they could even move, they start passing out. At this point, it's finally confirmed by King himself that Zorro has Conquerors haki. The way that King explains it in this translation is that, oh, you have kingly ambitions, which is sort of a silly way to say it. I hope they change it in the official translation. But yeah, Zorro confirms. He's like, I made a promise to Kuina, and I made a promise to my captain. So at this point, everybody, all Zorro fans, rejoice. We finally have it confirmed. Zorro has King's haki, and god damn it, if he's able to use it in this fight, we're gonna see this fight completely do a 180, because we know that Luffy's up on the rooftop fighting Kaido right now while able to coat his arms with King's haki. So if Zorro's able to coat his blades with King's haki, oh, it's a done deal. Great chapter. I know you can sense the hype in my voice right now just because we know that this King versus Zorro battle is turning the hell up. Our boy finally got King's Haki and he's finally got Enma under control, and we know that it's about to get crazy. I don't recall Oda ever writing an explanation chapter this long during a battle. We've had explanation chapters before, but this chapter was solely just explaining the situation that Zorro was going through in the middle of the battle. So kudos to Oda for that. He's definitely a master writer. I'm gonna give this chapter an 8 out of 10. There was cool stuff that we got world building, we got a new character that was finally fleshed out in Shimotsuki Kozaburo. So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching the video up until this point. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you stay safe, stay healthy, and I will catch you guys next time.